It is currently Monday, February 19th, 2024, and it's 4:54 a.m. And this is documentation of third-party group stalker Universal Waste Systems, Inc. This is a third party that is thoroughly documented on the and that documentation, that evidence that's going to be used against that company and against the employees of that company, and the people of the state and the state of California. That is, it's already published evidence. I want to document what is harassment by an entity. Universal Waste represents a third party. That is a corrupt company that represents the people of the state. The people of the state of California, which is the vicarious aspect of the public entity's criminal system of group monitoring, the malicious face behind which the public entity, a corrupt public entity that is criminally monitoring and group stalking an American citizen. So Universal Waste is the people of the state. I just want to be clear. I have specifically named an instrument of within the group that is the people of the state for purposes of what shall be civil and criminal prosecution based on their criminal conduct. And so they are specifically on the property engaging in what is terrorism. And I want to document what is a specific act at 4:54 a.m. where they are on the property grounds, and they are on the property grounds at this early hour for the under the guise of providing a service to the property, but they are on what is this? They're arriving at a crime scene and they are participating in the public entity's ongoing crime, an unprecedented one, which is also against an American citizen. This is federal group stalking and monitoring. Universal Waste Systems, Inc. is a group stalker. And in addition to their criminal act with the state, they are engaging in what is harassment. So Universal Waste Systems, Inc., just in short, they arrive on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They have trucks. All they do is they pick up these the dumpster receptacles on their trucks and they drive them off the property. Nothing in any of that would ever result in any light that would ever manifest up to the third floor into my apartment, any place in my apartment, and moving across the ceiling. That is the pattern of conduct. Universal Waste is a group stalker. They're going to be prosecuted for terrorism. They're going to be prosecuted for terrorizing an American citizen, serving a criminal purpose, using a business, a corrupt business, as the means to do so, which is just one of the malicious means that the people of the state are engaging in this corrupt system with the public entity. That's the state of California. So they are now understand the entity's pattern of conduct is to engage in ongoing harassment. Now, where a government is criminally monitoring you and doing so also with the people of the state, this is terrorism where you have an entity harassing you. So what I want to document is at 4:54 a.m., the time where Universal Waste Systems, Inc. is arriving on the property, engaging in criminally monitoring me still today, posing an impermissible threat, that is. They are still engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. They are still engaging in criminal facilitation. They are also engaging in what is specific acts of harassment. And so at 4:54 a.m., where the entity is monitoring, understand the entity knows when you're awake, when you are asleep. And this is an entirely demonic system. Universal Waste are engaging in what is satanic methods of harassing and group stalking and monitoring. And to that end, while I'm asleep at 4:54 in the morning, the ongoing continuous sound of crashing dumpsters. Now, I've described to you what they do. All they do is they come in and they hook up the trash receptacles to their truck and they drive it off. Something, by the way, that prior to my specific documentation of this group stalker was something that took seconds and did not create any such crashing noises. So I want to be clear that crashing sound is audible activity. It is also, again, breaking down what is a satanic targeting system. This is also a demented method of an entity communicating hostility. Understand the noise that they make in the environment is accomplishing a criminal purpose. And they also engage in what is creating that sound, amplifying it more, prolonging it more as a means of, and that's going to be prosecuted as what is terrorism. You're continuously monitoring me and you're doing so with the state and you're facilitating that ongoing criminal act with knowledge of the fact that you're being documented. All of the pattern of conduct is continuing while I'm documenting you. This is going toward what are federal charges. And they're doing so as a means to harass at 4:54 a.m., prolonged sound of crashing dumpsters, and waiting until the moment that I wake up. Again, the entity aware, heavily monitoring me, aware of the fact when I awake in my room, and the sound of crashing dumpsters, which there's nothing that they're doing which is going to reasonably create that at this time as well. Not only should they be mindful of the hour that they're here, you're talking about what has nothing really, there shouldn't nothing is reasonably creating that noise at this time. Being one that comes and picks up the dumpsters is not an excuse for that. Okay, it's their means of audible activity, and it has also been a means of their engaging in what is hostility. Outside of my room, it's amplified audible activity, period. Universal Waste Systems is going to be a company that will not survive criminal and civil prosecution and the public exposure, because it shall be that which is publicly announced, where the businesses that are doing that are conducting business with the American people in this country, and that they're engaging in terrorizing American people while they want to be here, making money off of the American people, and they're monitoring and group stalking and terrorizing American citizens. That's going to be a matter of public information. That's a federal policy that's going to be. This company is engaging in what is harassment as an entity. The people of the state are not individuals. They don't act as individuals. They have no First Amendment right. They have no constitutional right to be anywhere at any facilitating venue, engaging in and facilitating the state's criminal system. So they are in no way protected whatsoever, fully exposed for prosecution. So all you do is document. But with regard to this company, they're engaging in what is harassment, amplified, ongoing, prolonged audible activity. And I'm also breaking down how it's not even reasonable, the sounds that is ongoing at not only at this hour, but also the fact that it is amplified at the level that it is, and for the amount of time that it's going on. And the moment that I wake up, I'm hearing the sound of, which is basically the humming of the truck, picking up the truck onto, picking up the receptacles, latching it onto their truck and driving off the property is the extent of what they're doing. That's it. They're not dumping the trash here. They're picking them up and removing them from the property. Okay. They're engaging in this for purposes of harassment, for purposes of disrupting my sleep while they are still monitoring, and they're still engaging in the federal crime of facilitation. Okay. And then they do so. I quickly get up. Again, this is psychotic targeting. So everything that you're doing, understand, this is why you're going to prosecute the state, because they're also violent sex offenders. They maintain real-time knowledge of everything that you're doing. And that same real-time knowledge, that same ongoing concerted conduct that they engage in to keep you surrounded and keep you monitored and keep you surrounded with a specific environment, is also occurring while you're physically indisposed, while your genitalia is exposed, while you're engaged in any private activity in the private space inside of your home, meaning in the restroom, in the shower, taking your clothes off, engage in any private moment. If you happen to be a third party, that's a third party, because they're all third party, any third party that is inside of the private residence of the targeted individual, and that's what they are. They're a third party, and they are engaging in any private matter with you. It's a matter of public information. Okay, so I want to be clear. Universal Waste is engaging in real-time knowledge of what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And as I quickly get up out of my bed to take a picture of what's the sound of, it sounds like they're in the process of picking up the dumpster, because you can hear the humming of the truck. That's the sound of you are either picking up or putting down. But because it's 4:54 a.m., you can literally narrate what they're doing based on the sounds that they're creating. But this is sounds that's created by an entity that's monitoring, and also with knowledge of what it is that I'm paying attention to and what I'm doing. And so while there's the sound of the dumpsters being picked up by Universal Waste Systems, I immediately, and it takes less than 2 seconds for me to get up and get out of my window, because I wanted to capture their presence on the property. And while I hear that sound, they're already leaving the property. So in other words, avoiding being documented on my camera, which is intentional. And none of this it's neither here nor there, because I've established my credibility. I've established the venue. I've established the pattern of conduct by the people of the state. I've established the pattern of conduct by the state acting directly. And there is no reason where now, 5 years later, I'm in any way changing or exaggerating or deviating from what that's exactly what Universal Waste is. They are within the pattern of conduct, which is the hostile and demented mind state of what are the demon possessed This is a demonic targeting system, and the hostility of that demented entity is to engage in further harassment where they are documented, where they're exposed, where you are in any way enforcing your rights, which is, by the way, the conduct of a stalker that has the audacity, the sick mind to then be upset with you and continue to stalk you, okay, when you go out of your way to enforce your rights, okay? Very, very highly demented. And this is the pattern of conduct that Universal Waste is engaging in. So I wanted to go out of my way to document this. This is harassment by an entity. The people of the state of California and Universal Waste and the state of California shall be civilly and criminally liable. This is a group crime, okay? And you are also going to specifically name the people. Universal Waste Systems, Inc., by name. I will prosecute that company. It is part of the same vicarious actor, the people of the state. Ted Speaker is civilly and criminally liable for what I am subject to on a ceaseless basis while I am working for his company, having a right to be not subject to any public entity's ability to, on his property or via his employees working for his company. And I'm subject to this system, this unfathomable, this inhumane criminal system perpetrated by a corrupt government, at that, a corrupt law enforcement agency. All right. But also doing so while it's being documented and then suffering what are unfathomable and terrorizing means of harassment by that same entity because of the fact that I'm enforcing my rights. I will document that also. I will prosecute you also. I will also multiply damages based on that ongoing suffering. Okay. It's currently 5:06 a.m. and this is P.O.C.